Powerful moments at the Capitol. Families who lost their little girls during July floods at Camp Mystic shared stories and memories. The families came to advocate for legislation to help prevent another tragedy, and their testimony pushed lawmakers to take quick action. A Senate committee meeting bringing out stories and sounds of loss.
Her last song she ever composed, Virginia's Song.
The parents of 8-year-old Virginia Hollis play her final composition piece for legislators, fighting back tears as they grapple with the daily, dark reality that their little girl is gone.
My anguish is as infinite as the stars in the sky, and equally as unfathomable, searing, blazing, exploding, a black hole of pain.
They came to the Capitol with other families who all lost their daughters at Camp Mystic.
We are the parents of Seal Stewart, the only camper from Camp Mystic still missing.
The campers swept away by a raging, fast-rising Guadalupe River.
The only way the Rangers knew for sure it was her was after I told them she had had alternating green and yellow nail polish on her fingernails.
Replaying the nightmare of having to identify her tiny, muddy body.
We trusted Camp Mystic with her precious life, and they failed to perform.
The camp has been scrutinized for not doing enough to keep campers safe. Both the Senate and the House advanced legislation to create more uniform safety standards for camps.
When I speak on this bill and for this bill, I hope I'm not just speaking for myself, but for the lost children, the grieving families who have called us, met with us, and shared their heartbreak and grief with us.
One day after the Senate hearing, many of the families returned to the Capitol. They sat in the gallery for the vote on House Bill 1. It requires youth camps to submit detailed emergency preparedness plans for floods. It also bans camps from building cabins in 100-year floodplains.
Let me be clear, nobody could have anticipated what happened that weekend, but we could have been better prepared.
Before the vote, House members paid tribute to those who died at Camp Mystic.
Lila Bonner,
reciting their names,
Chloe Childress,
and recognizing their families in the gallery before passing the legislation.
Members, this bill is for Heaven's 27.
Hours later, the families returned to the Capitol, this time to watch senators pass their version of the camp safety bill.
I can tell you that on a bipartisan basis, the members of this floor and this Senate are here to take action so that this never happens again.
Bill author Charles Perry worked closely with the families to shape the legislation.
You've acknowledged your strengths comes from your kiddos, and it will be with you forever. And don't ever, ever forget to lean on that in your bad days. But what you've done for me was your testimony and witness of faith in action.
Perry asked the families to stand as he read tributes to the 27 girls who died at Camp Mystic. Then they took the vote.
There being 28 ayes and no votes, Senate Bill 1 has passed in the honor of the 27.
A unanimous vote with the goal of saving lives. It's been more than 7 weeks since the deadly floods, but flood cleanup and recovery is still really just beginning in Kerr County. These burdens aren't just emotional and physical, they're also financial. Brianna Hollis reports from Kerrville about details just announced on relief funding.
This funding from the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country will first go to housing and then later allocate to things like mental health, quality of life, and future long-term support relief. And just like debris is still here along the riverbank, we may be 6 weeks or so out from the floods, but people here still need help and they still feel the pain of what this community lost.
I didn't even think about it. I've got 6 granddaughters, and every time there was a new report, it was just like, oh my God.
She's still heartbroken, but Tammy Ladwig says she's one of the lucky ones. Her family's okay, and her garage door business is on its way to full operations again, thanks to a lot of help from the community.
Country strong. That's the good thing.
But boots on the ground, neighbors helping neighbors can only do so much. It's not sustainable, and at the end of the day, full recovery requires more money.
Each of those dollars represent a face.
The Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country, which has raised about $100 million in donations since the July 4th floods, pledged $40 million Thursday to meet flood victims' housing needs. This money is for things like temporary housing, home repair and rebuild, and down payment assistance. Something Brenda Espinoza and James Mike Trollinger are already starting to get help with through this process.
As soon as I opened the back door, we got hit with a wall of water up to our waist. Took us under her wing, and she says, "I'm doing everything. You don't have to worry about anything now. When I get done, I'll hand you the keys, and you'll be able to move back in."
Funding has also been made available for small businesses like Ladwig's, who's still adjusting to a new normal.
It's going to take a long time, so nothing happens fast, unfortunately.
While this private money makes its way to folks, some Democratic lawmakers say they wanted to see more relief funding come straight from the Capitol.
And I believe we're on day 47 now since the floods, and we know that Governor Abbott is well within his ability to send relief money, and he could have started that process on July 5th.
Governor, building off the state funding question, what is your reaction or response to some Democrats who have questioned why you didn't redirect state funds with emergency power?
Because the fact of the matter is that the state began spending money the day before the storm even hit. As an example of state money being used, in the first 24 hours, state resources were able to either rescue or evacuate more than 1,000 people.
And looping back to nonprofit funding, the Community Foundation says it can only give money to people who ask for help. So we show you how to do that on KXAN.com. And the foundation says you should get a call from a caseworker within a week. In Kerrville, I'm Brianna Hollis, State of Texas.
Thanks, Brianna. We told you earlier about camp safety legislation. It's one of several flood-related bills moving forward at the Capitol. Senate Bill 2 would establish licensing requirement for emergency management coordinators and set up a registration system for disaster response volunteers that could include criminal history checks. Senate Bill 3 would require a state agency to determine which areas in the region that flooded on July 4th weekend should have outdoor warning sirens, and then establish guidance on how to install them. And Senate Bill 5 would pull money from the state's so-called rainy day fund for disaster relief efforts, including $50 million for sirens.
The STAR test does not benefit students, teachers, and schools the way you think it does.
There's new momentum to change the standardized test used in Texas schools. We look at what's in store for students and why some lawmakers are questioning the plan.